Live from Tulsa, Oklahoma, from the House at the River Studios, it's the Tulsa Sound Podcast, Episode 1, with Mr. Eric and Oscar Padron. All right, what's the next song on our musical hit parade?
So that was a little bit of Brandon. The next one is number 9. Can you go to 9?
Number 9. Number 9. Number 9.
Number 9.
Number 9.
And you know,
Number 9.
we're going to talk
The
about
Waltusi.
one of my favorite artists, one of my favorite Tulsa Sound artists. He was a blues man. He was a hero. He was notorious. He was my brother. He was my evil Uncle Walter. There's a million things I could say about this guy, but let's listen to a
Why
little
don't you
bit
say
of
his name?
Tulsa's own Steve Pryor. Tulsa's own Steve Pryor. A song called Ghost Town.
There was a proud little factory on the outside of town. I don't remember when they built it, but yesterday they tore it down. Not there to work there now, his friends just sit around.
All right, and this is Steve Pryor bringing you songs from El Nino Chicken Dog. Let's give it up for the legendary and notorious Steve Pryor. Tulsa sound musician Steve Pryor. Yeah, Stephen Walter Pryor. My evil Uncle Walter. You may call him Steve Pryor.
You wouldn't know anything about that graffiti art I've seen around town lately, Oscar, would ya?
I do not know of any graffiti art featuring Steve Pryor around the Tulsa area. I deny.
Which is interesting because it's got your
confirm
name like somebody's painted. I guess somebody else with your name.
I cannot confirm or deny said rumor this evening on the Tulsa Sound Podcast as we listen to Evil
We have a
Uncle.
caller here, an Andrew Black, and he says he has information on this.
Put Andrew Black on the phone. We're now going to Andrew Black. Mr. Eric is Andrew Black. Not Andrew Black, but shout out to Andrew Black for keeping us all entertained and working hard on his master's degree. We support that. We support your education, Tulsa, by bringing you information about the Tulsa sound, historical content, just a little bit of humor. This man did a lot for the Tulsa sound. He helped define it. He helped define what it is and what people think about it.
And he was a baseball player, too.
He was a baseball player. He went to Nathan Hale High School.
They loved him over there.
They did.
They loved him. They kicked him out, but they loved him.
It's written by Scott Hutchinson. Shout out to Scott Hutchinson. Tonight he's down at the Shrine seeing Charlie McGuire and Katie Dover open up for Chris Duarte tonight.
We'll be seeing a little footage. We just get some footage in from that show a minute ago.
We did get some footage in from our field reporter, Scott Hutchinson.
All right. Well, cool.
Steve left a legacy of music behind. I encourage any young blues guitar player to listen to his catalog. Young musicians are out there carrying on his legacy. Young Paul Benjamin, young Charlie McGuire, young Connor Culpepper, young Barrett Lewis, to name a few. There are lots of young musicians out there playing Steve Pryor songs, and I think it's a great thing.
What do we got next?
Okay,
man?
so the next item up for bids is a little bit of J.J. Cale. We're gonna end the show with a little bit of J.J. Cale, number 10 on the list. J.J. Cale helped define the Tulsa sound, what it is, and what people think about it.
Yeah, this is a Cale song with no cymbals.
Little Cale with Brown Dirt with Jimmy Karstein on drums.
Brown dirt
sticking to my fingers. Brown dirt, clinging to my feet. Brown dirt, Mississippi bottom land, picking that cotton for the man down the street.
You know, we brought the show in tonight with a cotton picking song. We're going out with a cotton picking song.
We are.
His vegetables. Brown
So,
dirt, growing his
J.J.
grass.
Cale's from Ponca City, Oklahoma.
Walking down the pathway,
And
picking that cotton, I
he's a
hope
fabulous
it
musician, but he is a recording engineer by trade.
So he was a recording engineer by trade. Yes? Amazing.
Yes, he was a recording engineer by trade. He engineered most of these albums. Did a great amount of the work himself. He knew what he wanted. He knew how to talk to the musicians. He knew his sound. He was satisfied with what he was presenting, but I think he always wanted to push it. And that's a sound engineer thing. A good sound engineer is never satisfied with what they've done. They always want to make it better. And there's some deep groove in these tracks. Turn around to that drummer and say, I don't want any cymbals at all. No cymbals. And they go, what?
That's a heavy request.
Brown dirt,
No
what
cymbals.
you're sinking. Brown dirt, drop
Listen to the song. Listen to the groove. Doesn't need them.
I've been thinking we're all coming to you and we won't be the first.
J.J. Cale worked a lot with a lot of the artists out of the UK, Eric Clapton in particular.
You know, when I listen to this track, I can almost. It seems like I'm hearing a real cheesy synthesizer way back in the back, too. No, he's playing some guitar through a flanger.
Brown dirt,
Face.
somebody told me, be the last place you lay. Cover my body, I soon be the cotton that's grown every day.
It reminds me of a saying by a gentleman I used to know. He'd say you were picking tall cotton and wiping your ass with the
If
stalks.
a stick moves,
Ooh, amen. Amen.
if water
You know, that's what the Tulsa Sound
It's a
podcast is all about. Telling weird stories with filthy language.
you know it hurts.
It's true. It's true. We're going to mix in some local Tulsa phraseology. We're going to say some. We're going to say some old phrases from the past and some new phrases the kids are using. Did you know, Eric, that the 20-somethings are calling songs bops?
Those crazy kids.
Bops.
What will they think of
They
next?
talk about the new bop.
Well, you know what I say to them? Pay me. Pay me money.
They're working on the new bop.
Well, let's work on a new bop here. Let's roll this thing on down the road, and
I think so.
we'll take some kale out.
I think that at the other, yeah, perfect. So I just want to remind you to like and subscribe to the Tulsa Podcast. If you'd like us to do an ad read for you, we are completely available for that. Hablamos Español here at the Tulsa Sound Podcast. Go out and see some live music, folks. Tip the band,
Okay.
tip your bartender, tip your waitress,
Yeah.
and join us again next week for the Tulsa Sound Podcast.
Tulsa Sound Podcast has been brought to you by 60708 House Productions.
60708 House Productions, and Eric and I are out.
See you later.